Oh, hello there, world. Welcome to this week's show, the Crazy Gentleman Podcast. I'm your host, the Crazy Gentleman, and this week's show is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Performance, bareknuckleperformance.com, and Bare Knuckle Performance on Instagram, home of the highest quality, 100% made in America parts and apparel for your Harley Davidson and Indian motorcycles. And they are also going to be one of the sponsors, vendors, whatever the hell you want to call them, at this year's Mama Tried show. And that is who our guest is this week. But we will get back to that in a minute. This week's show is also brought to you by Lexan-Moto.com. Punch in the code word CRAZY for checkout for 15% off and experience that killer concert inside your helmet. Also brought to you by Evan Simbita Custom Knives. SimbitaCustomKnives.com, Simbita_custom_knives on Instagram. Go get you one. Check these bad boys out. If you're looking on YouTube, some of the finest outdoor and hunting knives in the world. Look at that bad boy. Pretty cool. Or you can go with this guy. Also, this is another cool one, man. You just don't really see knives like this. Like, look at that carbon fiber Kydex sheath. Pretty cool. If you're looking on YouTube, yeah, go check them out, man. Even if you guys aren't into hunting or let's call it the outdoors, and you're just a regular biker listening, or a baker, or a chef. I know I got all these people listening. All these blue collar people are listening. Evan also makes a bread knife now. He makes a chef knife. If you're a fisherman, he makes all kinds of fillet knives. He makes any kind of knife that you can think of. He makes, hit him up, man. He makes a cool one, man, for all the bikers out there listening. I forgot the model, but obviously you hit him up, he'll tell you. It's a double-edged one. So like it's around the size of this one too. It's a pretty good size knife. And the backside, the spine of it is also got an edge up most of it, which is pretty cool, man. Like a tactical defense knife, double-edged knife, but it's not like your typical double-edged knife where it's like symmetrical and it kind of looks like a spear, let's say. It looks like this knife, but also sharpened on the backside of it, but not all the way. So you still have like room for your thumb here, and like there's a little jimping here. It's a pretty freaking cool tactical biker self-defense kind of knife. But he's got something for everyone. Hit him up. He's the best, and he lives for this stuff, man. He's a real deal guy. Who else? Oh, most importantly, man, my man Evo Jesus at the Bump Shop Diaries, bumpshopbackroom.com, the only place to get your Crazy Gentleman merch, and some other awesome vintage finds. And go support Rodney's Coffee Company. Go buy a bag of coffee. He's got a couple different blends now, and he's the man, dude. Another one, he lives the life, dude. Hunting, Harleys, coffee. What else more do you want? And last but not least, another guy who really lives the life, dude. Kenny's House of Horsepower. If you need a high-performance engine build, maybe just a vintage engine restoration, or you want to be the next world's fastest M8, anything from turbos, superchargers, drag bikes, street to strip, anything you can think of, Kenny's got you covered. And speaking of Kenny, he is the man throwing down $1,000 gift certificate for the 100th episode giveaway. That's for Patreon members only. Don't forget to sign up for the Patreon. If you don't want to sign up for the Patreon, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on, or if you're looking at this through YouTube, at least give me a good rating, like, subscribe, and that goes a long way too, and that is much appreciated. Puts me all in the interwebs algorithms for even more people to search for me and listen. But thank you so much for anyone who supports so far. Also, speaking of the 100th giveaway, Bare Knuckle Performance is also throwing down a $100 gift card. And the Bump Shop Backroom, my man Evo Jesus, is also throwing in a merch pack. Probably maybe a bag of coffee, maybe a piece of vintage clothing, maybe a Crazy Gentleman t-shirt, maybe whatever the hell you choose. He's kind of just going to leave it up to the winner. So you can get some cool stuff, man. Lexin is also going to be throwing in a few headsets. And I think some merch. I don't know. I kind of left it up to them. They sounded like they were getting a little generous. So we'll see what they throw down. And our guests here this week. Our guest, Scott Johnson, the guy behind Mama Tried. And also, I don't want to forget about Warren. I just want to thank him anyway, even though he could not make the show tonight. He had a last-minute business engagement. And also Jeremy Prach, the man behind Flat Out Friday. They are going to be throwing in 2 tickets. But I'm going to be doing that ticket giveaway before the 100th episode, but it's like part of the 100th episode. You got to be a Patreon member to get in on that. If the Patreon member who wins that cannot go, I will continue to draw until there is a Patreon member who can show up at the event. And if that don't happen, I'll figure it out. I'll give it away to some, maybe a random Instagrammer who, I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, that is open for Patreon members only. So don't forget to sign up. But yeah, I want to thank today's guests first and foremost. They, as I've said a million times on this podcast before, probably to nauseum, Mama Tried is my favorite show all year. I look forward to it. The minute it ends, I look forward to going back to Milwaukee. Yeah, but I mean, besides that, Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival is another one. But those are just my 2 favorites. Mama Tried is just, I just can't miss it, man. It's the best. Flat Out Friday is the coolest event that you're going to see all year. If you want to see some serious racing from pros to goofballs on mini bikes, everyone obviously knows about the goofball class. That's like world famous at this point. From guys turning motorcycles into jet skis, motorcycles into porta potties, people riding around like freaking Santa Claus on lawnmowers. My man Chicken Rick riding around like Santa Claus, throwing gifts out from his goofball Sportster. You name it. I think he had the John Deere fucking motorcycle lawn tractor contraption of his last year. I mean, dude, you name it, it's at Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday. Highest quality motorcycles in the country at Mama Tried in the Eagle Ballroom. It's awesome. I did a few podcasts from there last year. You could go back and look at those. It's the coolest freaking venue, and then the coolest guys to possibly run this show. I mean, they started it from nothing. They talk about the origins of it. It's like, it is the perfect combination of like, if you put together an all-star cast and an all-star motorcycle event, this is it. Don't miss it. Get there. Bare Knuckle will be there. Go get one of these shirts. Even these hoodies are made in America. And also, don't forget to get down on Bare Knuckle's special 20th anniversary. I don't know, I don't want to call them gifts because you got to pay for them. But he's doing a bunch of 20th anniversary like knives, custom made knife by Mick Strider. If you guys aren't a knife nerd like me, Mick Strider's a knife fucking making legend. He's killer. And then Paul's got a bunch of merch, like special 20th anniversary hoodies and stuff like that. But anyways, back to Mama Tried. Yeah, I've been going for about 5 years now. This will be my first year also actually racing at Flat Out Friday. Thanks to my man Chicken Rick bringing a bike for me. But I've gone every year. I've gone to the Flat Out Friday. We talk about all about it. I don't know, man. I can't thank these guys enough. I even went for the Harley 120th this year and did some mini bike racing with Jeremy. They're running Flat Out Friday events all year at all different places. They talk all about it. Mama Tried had a display at the Harley factory this year, outdoors. They also currently, while you're at Mama Tried, they have an exhibition for all the Mama Tried years. Like, so they got some bikes there from past years of Mama Tried that you can still go check out at the museum. I think it's running for a year long, and it started at the 120th this year. So like right through the summer now, you could go see the Mama Tried exhibition, which on my Instagram for this week, I'll post a bunch of pictures and video and stuff from that. From when I was there for the 120th, so you could see the exhibition before Mama Tried and get you hyped up, man. While you're in town from Milwaukee, that's one of the coolest things to do. I've done it probably 4 or 5 times now, is go visit the museum. Very cool. It changes constantly, so like when you go year to year, they'll have different exhibitions like the Mama Tried right now. They'll have different race bikes there, different history. Like the curator of that museum is constantly changing that place up. So don't think that you went to the museum one time and you've seen it all. It's not going to happen. There's always different stuff. It's really cool. What else can I say about these guys, man? There's like not much to say. I love them. They're awesome. They've been very generous, very nice over the years. They're the kind of guys, before I did any of this, when I was like a real just ghost floating around the motorcycle scene, you guys know I've been doing this for like almost 20 years now, just like whatever, you know, bopping around the country and doing all this shit. These guys, like, they'll give the time of day to nobody. They're just the nicest guys. Can't thank them enough. Can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks in Milwaukee, or probably about a month from when you're hearing this. Mama Tried to probably be about a month or so away. So anyways, and if you guys see me in Milwaukee or whatever, as always, at events, come say hi, whatever. I'm a nice guy. I won't bite your finger off unless you got chocolate ice cream on it. Yeah, or pizza. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. And thank you so much for all of your support as usual. Without further ado, here is Scott Johnson and Jeremy Prach. Thank you guys so much again.
Feeling pretty good about myself. Holy shit. 3-4 days of gluttonous drinking and pound cake. And just
All right, we're recording.
guzzling olive oil.
You guzzling olive oil?
We were just commenting on our holiday
Physique. My shirt's a little tight. I can feel things are a little...
got some tum-tum happening.
I'm at holiday weight.
Yeah.
Is that your normal weight?
No, I think I'm a little less taut. I feel like a snare drum. Like in my shirt.
Ready to fucking just hit you with a pin and just pow.
Yeah, I'm stung by a bee and it's over.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, so we jumped right into it. I guess do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Scott from Mama Tried Show and Flat Out Friday. Scott Johnson.
My name is Jeremy. I'm here with Scott in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm with Flat Out Friday. But hey, who are you there? The crazy gentleman.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
I need to know, that's a bold statement. And we're going to have to pause for a second to tell me what quantifies you as the crazy gentleman.
Man, it's literally a silly name that I just made up one day, just for Instagram, and then it just turned into this.
Nice.
Yeah, there's.
Don't you think that sets a bar of minimum behavioral requirements? Does that make sense?
Oh, I definitely meet the minimal behavioral requirements for that. Yeah, I could say this. No one's ever questioned my qualifications for the name.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
on. Right on.
I definitely could wear the hat.
Right on.
Yeah. There's no real like meaning or like long term nickname or anything. I just am kind of both of those things.
Okay.
So,
Got you.
you know,
And wait, where are you coming from right now, Rob?
uh,
Physically, like yeah, physically in the world. Where are you? What is your location?
I am in Huntington, New York right now. It's located on Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you're from that area?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm from like a half hour from here.
Okay.
And I did some growing up upstate too. And in my adult life have moved back and forth from here to upstate.
Okay. What's
So,
it like around there?
it's a huge suburban sprawl. It's a huge suburban sprawl of New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a lot of? Do people commute to New York to work from where you live?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is
How long does it take to get there?
I'm depending on where in New York, like I could hit the city in about 45 minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say the city, I mean Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the middle of Manhattan in like 45 minutes.
That's close.
Yeah. This Long Island is like the main vein for like people to commute in and out of Manhattan. That's where like most of your working class commuters are coming in and out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They take the Long Island Railroad.
Yeah, correct. And that is my main employer. How'd you know that?
I got a lot of fun facts.
Wait. So what do you do? You work on the railroad?
Yeah. I'm a locomotive repairman for the railroad. I fix trains.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. How did you get into doing that?
My mom did. My mom worked on the railroad. She didn't fix trains, but she worked on the railroad for like almost 35 years. So yeah, a few years before she retired, I started, which was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So give me just a couple basic questions on locomotive motors. They're diesel.
Yeah. They're supercharged diesels.
Okay.
For like most part, our newer fleet. The older stuff is just naturally aspirated, you know. But
Are you on call when the Long Island? Isn't there a song? But anyway, when the Long Island train breaks, are you called? You know, it's stuck in Hempston.
how do you know these towns? Hempstead.
I know a lot of things.
Jeremy's a super undercover spy, man. Yeah, I am on call. I am.
You are on call, yeah?
I am the guy they call. Yeah, so my technical job is I tell people locomotive repairman because it's just like easy for people to just process and we move on with the conversation. But my technical job is what's called a road car inspector. So I inspect trains in yards and out on the road, and I fix them, like minor repairs that you can make on the tracks. But also when trains like derail or break down in the middle of nowhere, I'm also the guy they call.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me this. Is riding trains safe?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely a danger aspect to it, but when a train breaks down, it doesn't fall out of the sky like a plane.
Right.
So that's one good plus.
What happened? Wasn't there like a train in Philadelphia went off the tracks, like went over around a corner like really fast or something like that a couple years ago?
Oh yeah, a couple years ago. Yeah, basically they were flying around a big curve. I think that was an Amtrak train. But yeah, in terms of danger though, like they're pretty dangerous. I would say they're more dangerous than people think. A lot more crazy shit happens that doesn't make the news. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're any less safe than any other mode of transportation.
I was setting up, because you're an inspector, I was setting up to say, oh man, we have such a deep level of government checks and balances that the rail travel is very safe. That's what I was hoping you were going to say. I don't want to get any darker than that. I'm pulling back from my question.
Well, I was going to say, let's hear what's the first story that comes to mind when I'm like, tell me a crazy story about fixing repairing a train like derailed or some kind of accident or something like that.
Well, so that's like something that comes to mind when you ask like how safe trains are. I would say like it depends on how you're asking that question. Like the railroad I work for, we average about one death a week through like people getting hit at crossings or suicide jumping in front of trains and stuff like that. But like, would I consider that like dangerous in terms of like rail travel? No. But I guess like the activities that go on around railroads, like overall, it's just could be just very dangerous,
Wait, when someone like we see those videos of like car that breaks down on the tracks,
Yeah.
or tries to make a crossing, and when a train hits a car,
Yeah.
or a truck or a semi or a bus or whatever, like how much does that fuck up the train? Like from zero, like nothing happens, like it scratches the paint, to like it knocks it off the tracks.
It's really very subjective. I mean, I've seen full-size trucks get hit pretty fucking bad, and it's like barely scratching the train.
Right.
And then I've also seen entire trains just go on fire, It really depends. Like, so a few years ago, I went to a call, train hit a Dodge Durango, the SUV, the Dodge Durangos. So a fucking Dodge Durango got hit at like 65 miles an hour. And the thing that hitches the trains together, it's called a notch prong. It's basically like a huge fucking spear on the front of the train. Like, it's fatter than my coffee cup. Anyways, picture like a spear that's like 12, 15 inches long. The fucking car got like basically smashed around the front of this train, obviously stuck to the notch prong, and just everything went on fire, man. It pushed this car like a mile by the time the train stopped. Fucking car is on fire. The whole nose of the train just melted off, And then I've seen like semi trucks get hit, and you barely even notice the train got damaged,
Really?
It's all really very subjective,
Okay.
And then like a lot of kids will throw like couches on the tracks and shit. And that's another one. Like a fucking couch could derail a train, but like sometimes you could hit a car at fucking 60 miles an hour and it doesn't derail it,
Huh.
It's really all like case to case basis,
Yeah.
But
Does
it
someone
could,
have to get underneath the wheels to knock it off, or it just has to like...
yeah, basically. Basically something's got to get under those wheels to make it skip over the track. Yeah.
We used to put coins on the tracks when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I loved that, just watching the coins get mushed. But that was the favorite thing that we did.
Yeah.
I got two more questions with trains, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, sure.
If you could, if there was a zombie, there was no more humans on Earth except for you.
Yeah.
Could you drive a train to Milwaukee?
Oh, 100%. Dude, it's something I think about, like a little card in my back pocket. Like, if a zombie apocalypse really happened or some crazy shit, like, yeah, absolutely, a train would be an option for me in my travels. Like, if there was one parked in a siding and I had to go somewhere, yeah, for sure, dude. I would fire up a train and go. Yeah.
You would just climb in, you'd know where everything, like...
100%. Like,
if someone had taken the key with them or something.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't have a bug out bag. Like, I'm not like a super prepper kind of guy, but some would consider me. If I were to put together a bug out bag, I would absolutely put train keys in it.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not that it's like a universal key, but for most of the railroads around here, it will work. So, like, if I needed it in this immediate area, yeah, for sure.
Here's another question. So let's say the zombie apocalypse did happen. And you found a locomotive on a siding. If it had a full tank of gas and you unhooked it from any other cars, how far would it go?
That's a great question that I don't really know. But I would imagine it's got to be good for 1,000 miles. I would imagine.
So you can get it to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
If we were building the fucking zombie compound to end all zombie compounds, Swiss was here, you know.
I could pick him up along the way.
Yeah, there you go. You know, we could put together quite the compound, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So now, just real quick, when I was last in New York, I took a tour of the Subway Museum.
Okay.
And in the Subway Museum, they showed us the lighting system of 2 dots or 3 dots, so you knew your timing when you're driving through the tunnel because they're sharing the same track, right? Does this make sense to you? How who's governing that? You know what I'm saying? If I'm driving a train, how do I know I'm not going to run into another train coming the other way?
You have guys like station masters that are, I call it the Star Trek room. Picture like anywhere from like 2 to 10 guys sitting in this room with a huge wall. And it's a diagram of all the railroad tracks and where all the signals are and everything. And now, you know, a bunch of LED lights like indicating where the trains are and like what signals they have. And there's guys that are remotely throwing switches and telling trains where to stop and go and everything. Yeah.
That you didn't put it. I was hoping you'd give me a little more confidence in the system. I thought you'd say it was all automated and it's all taken care of. I don't want to find guys on a Monday, you know, talking about the Giants game and missing a switch.
No, dude, that's exactly what is going on. You know, and you know, and then you add like nowadays, like, you know, who's fucking off on their phone, and you know.
Right.
But as I say that, I'm going to guess that trains are generally on time. There's not a new train added into your daily routine for the most part.
Correct. The schedule's all the same, like, you know, Monday through Friday, and then the weekend will have that schedule, and then a holiday schedule. Those are the only variations, really.
Yeah.
But you
riding a zombie train with flames out the back from
Yeah.
Manhattan to Milwaukee.
Yeah, correct. I would have to take a lot more caution if I was riding the zombie train. Like, I'd have to slow it up and like read the switches because no one would be taking care of that for me. You know, like I would have to take care of that for myself.
So you'd have to slow down before you get to junctions and make sure that everything's like switched correctly.
Yeah. And in a zombie situation, I would have to like manually throw all those switches, you know?
Okay. You can do that still?
Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot of sections all over this country, including my railroad, that the conductor's getting out and throwing the switches before you could keep going, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, quite honestly, like railroading in general is a very like stone age kind of industry. Like it's, you know, it really, there's a lot of aspects of it that really haven't changed much since the fucking late 1800s, early 1900s. Wow. You know, like, dude, you want to hear something even scarier? I know Jeremy just wants to hear all this. So like when you see like freight cars going by hauling stuff, you know nothing is holding those axles in except the weight of that train.
Really?
Yeah. So like when they derail or there's a big accident, they're meant to just separate and like fly off of those axles basically.
Really?
Yeah.
Safety measure? Why? It's a bad
No.
How is that safe?
Only on passenger equipment are you required to put a saddle, which basically looks like picture like connecting rods. You know how it connects? Mm-hmm. You have your end cap that connects over a journal. Mm-hmm. Basically, only on passenger equipment you have to run one of those. And even on the passenger equipment, that journal cap, like that goes under the bearing, isn't even actually touching the bearing to actually hold it in.
Oh, really?
It's
safety or something.
Yeah, it's no different than the freight cars, except that saddle is there as like just a little safety measure so it don't fly off. But when it's in actual use, it's not actually holding that bearing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when freight cars derail, do those axle sets just go flying and
yeah,
they
basically
can fly into a lake or a ditch or whatever that's like next to the tracks and be lost forever.
Yeah, or it'll actually stay on the tracks and the actual car body will just roll off of the axles.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, because the axles weigh like several tons,
Right.
between the wheels and all that. So like when you see train wrecks and you see like wheels everywhere and shit, it's really not as bad as it looks sometimes because those things aren't even fucking connected anyway.
Right.
So
I got 2 more questions. And then we're moving on from trains. Are you union labor?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
2. Now, do you guys really have salt guns and shoot crusty punks?
No, I've never heard of this.
No? Okay.
Like the salt guns for the bugs?
No, the crusty punks. You guys don't have crusty punks in New York?
People who like ride trains, like punk rock kids who ride trains.
I just call them hobos.
Right.
No, so I wish we did because one of my dreams is to have a good one on this podcast, like a good train hobo.
Right.
But we don't really get that on Long Island because, well, first off, we don't run too much freight and nobody really wants to come here or pass through here. It's just like a dead end island.
Right.
Where like the Midwest, you would see a lot of that,
Yeah.
People passing through and still like trying to jump on train cars and stuff.
Yeah.
You definitely still get that.
Yeah.
In
who
yards.
you should talk to have on your podcast, or if I could suggest a guest who's like a train, he's like a train car rider, and he made a film called Bozo Texino. Do you know this film? It's about riding trains.
No, I'm gonna put it in my notes right now.
Yeah, it's really, really good. His name is Bill Daniel, and he made this film called Bozo Texino, and Bozo Texino is a nom de guerre of like a graffiti person that's always writing on the side of boxcars with like a wax pencil. And so we made this film, and it's like one of my all-time favorite.
It's a documentary, or
it's a documentary, but it doesn't have a lot of narrative. It's kind of it's surreal, but it's very concise. It's a beautiful. It's art, but it tells a story about hopping trains and hobo camps and just that whole culture.
Man.
And train graffiti and all that stuff. I mean, it's from a long time ago, so it could be a bit dated for now, but he was like, part of that punk rock scene in the 90s when he was like riding freight trains like coast to coast and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool as a document.
How old do you think this guy is now?
Oh, he's our age, my age. He's got to be in his 50s.
Okay.
But he's like an old punk rock dude. He's from Austin. He's a photographer. That's his thing, and he's got, used to shoot tons of punk shows back in the day, and just was a traveler, and he's just a really, really great dude. Super interesting. He's like been all around the world, all around the country. Really, just a really awesome dude. He'd be great to have on the podcast to have a conversation with if you want to talk about trains. You guys could talk about trains forever.
Dude, he sounds perfect. I promise I am going to try and contact this guy.
Yeah, he's great. Tell him I can send you his contact info and put you guys together. But he's a good friend and a great dude. He's also into bikes.
Oh, you're friends with this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just saw the movie and you're a fan.
No, well, I mean, I'm really a huge fan of the movie. In fact, I have like 3 copies of it here on DVD. I'm sure it's digital somewhere on the internet now, but he also was a flat track racer, and he's really familiar with like flat track history and motorcycle stuff.
Oh, this guy would be so perfect, man.
He's so great. You'd love it. There's so much to talk about. Talk about punk rock, talk about photography, talk about trains, talk about motorcycles.
Okay.
So,
he must have come through New York City at that time too, like through CBGBs and that whole New York punk scene.
Yep. He and I usually just talk about bike shit and then I pepper him with questions about train stuff, and then he just keeps asking me questions about motorcycles. But he's awesome.
Cool,
he's really,
man.
really great. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of that, you guys are the great interviewers, man. Like, especially Jeremy. I'm never.
For sure.
Like you never disappoint, man. You're so good. Your style of interview, it just never goes dry. Like you always ask the perfect questions.
Huh.
Yeah.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. You said, oh, we're just going to have a conversation. And I don't really usually like that as a format because it leaves the listener out sometimes. So I like to always keep context to everything that we're saying. I guess that would be the only secret, if you will, or the guiding thing that I'm trying to get to. And also, I want a connection. I don't want to. How was your day? I don't want that question. I want to know. I want to really, learn your soul.
Right.
And I think it comes from teaching in the city of Milwaukee, where you only have a very limited time to touch a human or make a connection with another human. So when they enter my classroom, that may be the last time I ever see them. So I try to make every interaction powerful.
Right.
Yeah, he's a good teacher, and you've been teaching for how long?
I've been teaching until 23 years, I think. It's a long time. How do you know I'm a good teacher, Scott? You ever...
I've seen you. Okay. Well, and during the pandemic, remember when we went up to Calumet, and you were teaching from. We went up to Calumet, Michigan, Upper Michigan, where Jeremy's family's from, and went up to this. It's sort of a cabin, but it's Jeremy's his mom's or his dad's childhood home, and there's literally like 10 feet of snow up there. And we went up there to go snowboarding and just sort of hang out and basically just like visit his relatives and go and try out everybody's sauna. But Jeremy had to teach during the day video because it was during, it was like, this was 2020, 2021.
Pandemic, yeah, it flared up.
So I got to watch you like basically on his computer all day long teaching, and you're a great teacher.
All right, well, thanks. Yeah. I'm a little hot now.
It's a good insight into the Jeremy world of what that's like. So,
Jeremy, what age range do you teach, or what grades?
I don't want to go as trainee as into teaching as we just did. But in the state of Wisconsin, real quick, if you have special needs, does this term make sense to you? If you have an IEP, does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're designated as being special, you can be in school until you're 21 years old in the state of Wisconsin. So the state of Wisconsin guarantees you services until you're 21. I work for a school to work. I teach students how to work. So if you have special needs and you're in high school and you're staying till you're 21, my program usually picks up around 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. I get you in the community and I get a job for you. You come to me every day and I'm your job coach.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I'm not in the classroom anymore, although I miss it very much. I miss being someone special. I miss being Jeremy Prach, Mr. Prach, Mr. Prach. Being like really someone special. Now I'm more of a job coach.
Okay. Just preparing special needs students for the real world, basically.
Yep. I'm getting them ready for DVR, if this makes anything for you. So if we're wiping tables at McDonald's, I'm getting them ready for that.
What does DVR stand for?
Department of Vocational Rehabilitation.
Okay.
So if you have a disability, the federal government will find you employment or help find you employment.
Okay.
If you broke your back,
right,
or you went blind, or you lost a leg on the train,
right,
fixing a train, you could report DVR, and they would interview you and say, well, you know what, we can get you a job in an office teaching at a community college, Diesel Motors or something.
Okay.
So the federal government has this tremendous amount of resources to help people with disabilities.
And you've been, can we talk about where you're working now and where you're working with the kids now?
Okay, yeah, sure. I have a job site. I'm at Veterans Hospital here in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
So students come to me, about 16 students come to me. They take an Uber now. They don't take the bus anymore.
Oh, really?
They take an Uber.
Huh.
And then I meet them, and hey, good, great to see you guys. And all right, Jimmy, we're going to go in the cafeteria. And Susie, we're going to go in the supply distribution. And I walk them to their jobs, and I check in on them. And there's three things that we're always looking for. One, everybody thinks that every female is their girlfriend, right? Because and she's not your girlfriend, trying to keep the sexual.
Not much different than the way I view the world.
Yeah, that's careful. And farting, you can't fart anywhere you want. All right, I don't know if they teach that in New York, but you just can't fart.
Right.
It's farting that they think that's really funny.
No. Like, did you fart?
Normal?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, you can't fart, in this space.
That's one thing that'll keep you from getting a girlfriend.
But just real quick, like getting them stoked on work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, instead of like, hey, all right, get down in the basement and start folding those towels. But like, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Dun, 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 dun. Like these little songs, and excitement.
Yeah.
To get them into the adult world of responsibilities.
You should carry around one of those horns, Jeremy.
I do that all the time. I do all the time.
That's your bit. That's part
That's
of your
my
bit.
bit. You came today. So I guess I was just making. I appreciate noticing the interview skills, but I think that comes ultimately from being a teacher.
Yeah.
Which I think gives me a couple other skills in this world, this motorcycling world. If you wanted to talk about shovel heads, that's Scott's thing. But like organizing labor or getting a moving thing like Thought Out Friday working, that would be my thing.
Organizing and promoting, like organizing events.
Yeah.
And getting all the people involved, and everybody has a role, making sure they stay in their role, stay in their lane. Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it takes 1 million people to put these things on, so you're good at rallying the troops and making sure everyone's in their designated.
Yeah,
job.
I appreciate that. All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, he's super good at that. Also, his sister Heather, she's really, really great at that too. She helps out, so she's kind of the. You raced there, right, Rob? You raced.
I have not raced yet. This will be my first year.
Oh, really?
What are you signed up in?
Booney.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
You made the cut?
Yeah, I'm going to be racing Chicken Rick's old gold bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second. That's a chopper? Or a Booney bike?
His gold one is, it's just like a regular...
But it's a Polestar, right?
Yeah.
Because didn't he also have a gold in the goofball? Maybe not.
He's raced several bikes.
I just want to make sure that you are signed up and you're getting information from me. Did you get an email from me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I got the confirmation email and all that. That was like, what, a week ago, that one?
Sure, a couple of them. Yeah, well, yes. But I tell you that because I don't want it to be weird, because I get this a lot out in public. Hey, I'm going to sign up for Booney. And it's sold out in 2 hours. And I just wanted to make sure that we have way too many Boonies.
Yeah, I definitely... So, I'll tell you how I signed up, man. I was elk hunting in Colorado on a fucking mountaintop. And, like, just on the mountaintops, we were getting service every day. And Chicken Rick was like, hey, man, tomorrow at 5 is the Flat Out Friday races. And I just texted him back. I'm like, I probably can't do it. I'm out of service or whatever. One thing led into another. The girl that produces this show is actually who signed me up while I was just in the middle of the mountains out there.
Okay.
So yeah.
She sounds great. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Killer.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm in though, man. I'm in.
But you've been in the pits before. You've come to Milwaukee.
Oh yeah.
Times.
Yeah, I've done the whole Flat Out Friday thing like probably 5 times now.
Oh wow.
You know.
But you haven't raced before?
No.
Really?
No, because I always just fly in and out, you know? Like even this year, Rick is a great friend, and he got that extra Booney bike from Matt Stout last year. And he drives every year in and out and whatever, so he's just kind of doing me that favor, you know?
Cool. That's awesome.
But, yeah, part of my other, like, loose plan, if this mini bike thing didn't happen, was I was going to just try and do the hooligan class with my Sportster. I got a Sportster set up like for a dirt bike, but I was going to just throw street tires on it and just kind of send it. But
cool.
the whole boonie bike thing fell in my lap this year, so here I am.
Yeah.
You know.
What about digging deep for goofball? What do you got for that? Can you actually don't tell me now? Don't tell me here in this. But
Space.
I just want to planting a seed when you're sleeping at night. Goofball.
I would love to be a goofball. Is that something you have to sign up for though, or is that something you pick?
You apply. It's free to race. You apply. There's a link on the Flat Out Friday website somewhere. Goofball sign up or goofball application. I think it says.
Okay.
Tell us your idea, and we'll get you in there. Bold statement. You're already in. You just gotta.
I don't want to ask for no favors, but if I think of a good enough idea that you think is going to be a fun time, we'll figure it out.
Right on.
All right.
Okay.
You got 6 weeks.
Yep. Yeah.
It's 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
7 weeks. 7.5 weeks.
That always gives me anxiety.
8 weeks. How can I help you? How can I help the anxiety?
It's good. I mean, it's
just under 8 weeks.
Yeah, we know the jam, and it's just there's a lot to do, and
I think seeing your anxiety, Scott. Though I think in myself too. I think we have this learned anxiety. It was never easy. Anytime before even Flat Out Friday got involved, Mama Tried already was tenuous at best every year, and then Flat Out Friday was. Am I using the word right? Tenuous.
Yeah.
Tenuous at best with changing of venues. And then COVID, I still have COVID anxiety. Is that's a real word, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh my God, only 8 weeks left. But you know what, Scott, we're doing everything we've ever done. That's just a learned anxiety that we have, right?
Yeah.
A bold statement is going to be the best year ever and the least anxiety ridden for us.
That's right.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on track to get it.
Well, let me ask you this: for these bigger events, like Flat Out Friday, Mama Tried, quite possibly certainly the biggest indoor event in this country. Is this an all year thing? Like you're basically working on this all year in some way, shape, or form, right?
You know, that's
kind of, sort of, yes. I mean, because you're constantly, for Mama Tried, you're constantly like looking for motorcycles that go in the show, or noticing bikes at events, and going to other people's events to support them, and going to tangentially related Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday events. Like we do Brazil, we've gone to Indonesia, Sturgis. This last summer was the 120th. So there's like always stuff that is like involves Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday, and there's always some level of promotion, sponsorships, travel, transportation, social media, so there's always like things on the horizon to do year round. So we do have like a small full-time staff in addition to us that are like constantly working on and making sure that all the emails get answered and the travel arrangements are made, and social media stuff gets posted, and everybody's getting paid on time and all that stuff. So yeah, it is year round, but then it starts to get really ramp up like September, October is when it really starts ramping up, and from now until race day, until the show day, it's pretty busy.
What is the feeling for you guys like? This is something I've wondered over all the years with a lot of these big events that I go to, but particular this one. What is the feeling like going crazy all year trying to get all this lined up? Like for you, Jeremy, being on the infield during race day, and you, Scott, like on the floor in the ballroom. What is that feeling like of like? Is there a feeling at a certain point where you could actually just relax like the rest of the patrons and enjoy it for a minute? Or are you just like, not like, is there ever...
I really appreciate that question, because I think this is something that we talk about because people don't really ever see our side of things. That's not coming from any sort of sympathy or anything, but I'm just using Scott as an example. I see Scott shake a hand, and someone's like, "Hey, Scott, I just want to let you know I got that thing taken care of that I was working on." And Scott's like, "Yeah." And then the next question, someone else is like, "Hey man, we're out of medium T-shirts. Hey man, there's some parking outside," and it's difficult to organize that as a leader on paper. When I say that, but I think we're both learning how to be better managers, and better participants in our own event. We have this Harley Davidson museum display exhibition, and in there you can see video cuts of me particular, and I'm stomping around with this angry face, kicking over things that are in my way, and that's a stark reminder of like I don't want to be like that. I don't want to invite you to my birthday party, and then I'm got this anxiety about the hamburgers aren't done right, and I'm ruining my own party.
Right.
So I'm learning how to, if I'm having a good time and relaxed, generally the staff and everything else is running smoothly. And I just want to, and Scott, I want to hear your take on that. I'm not dominating, but I do want to say that things are getting easier. You use the word crazy, running around crazy. I think this year now I've got a smaller group of people that I can just initiate a button. It's go time, and then everybody kind of knows what to do. In the past, for Flat Out Friday, I spent so much energy proving this event. Trying to convince the arena what this was, and they're like, "What is this again?" And then the insurance. What is this again? And radio stations and every people to sign up. I'm selling it. Now that we don't have to sell it, it's freed up a lot more RAM to better promote and to better manage and organize the humans. But take that question to Scott. I want to hear his.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with Jeremy. It's the same kind of thing. I think we've kind of learned to not stress out on the micromanagement. Like we try to plan for as much things as we can, but like, let's say, 4 years ago, if someone, one of the invited builders was like, oh, dude crashed his truck, in his trailer, and they're 4 miles out of town, and they need somebody to like get there. It's like, 4 years ago or 2 years ago, I would have been like, oh, like, I'm gonna get in my van, and like I'm gonna drop everything and drive over there. Now I'm just like, okay, I don't know. Does he have AAA? Are there other guys here? Or then I'll just be like, okay, who's here that can help? Go help this. And then I'll be like, and then I'm done. Then it's like, because I have to be, because it's just one thing after the next, like that. Like
Right.
Hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? Hey, and so I try not to get wrapped around the axle about stuff like that. I want to help, but with there's 350 racers at Flat Out Friday. There's 100 builders. There's 80 vendors. For every builder, they bring someone with them, if not a whole bunch of people. They need a place to park their vehicle. They need they need passes for everything for the people that they bring. Same with the vendors. They need to get all their stuff in and need to get it moved out, and where are they going to go? And there's a million moving parts, and it's not brain surgery by any means, and people do way more complicated events. But when you're having to manage a lot of people, and same with racers, every racer is going to bring 2 or 3 people to help in their pits, and they there's a lot of moving parts with the volunteers and where the bikes are going to go, and so there's in any of those chains of from sign up to like the opening ceremonies of the race to like when the doors open for the show and when the doors close for the show, like 100 things could go wrong and do. So we try to not. You try to just I think you learn at some point that there's just these things, sometimes they just go off the tracks. Like you just have to like you try to fix it the best you can and you just get on with it. And once they get moving, I mean, I guess there's a lot of train analogies here. Once they get moving, it's just like you kind of just like, okay, there it goes. It's like a snowball running downhill. It's like, all right, I can't control this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, when COVID happened, when they're like, all right, you need to like, we can't have the event, like it's not going to, and it's just like trying to put the brakes on all this momentum of all these people coming into town and all these things that are like in the works. It's nearly impossible. It's just like slowing a train down, right? When you're talking about like when that truck got hit, it took a mile to like slow it down. It's like it takes days to try to change a venue, or if you have to slow it down or stop it, it just doesn't work like that. So that's a really laborious explanation of what it is that, you know.
but I do want to highlight one thing. I want to give you what I think you were asking for, and that is a positive, ultimately a great time just for me. And I'd like to hear Scott's too. There is a moment that I do look forward to in the weekend, and that is standing in the middle of the track, as you mentioned, during the pro race. To me, the pro race is the least thing I need to manage. When it's the hooligans, you know, they're amateurs, and that's a lot of weight on a potentially slippery track, and they're not used to winning money. The kids, you know, I'm always a little bit biting my nails. I don't want the kids to get hurt. I think a lot of the women riders sometimes are riding a little over their head, and I'm biting my nails. But when those pros, whether it's slippery and they're bumping into each other, they manage to stay upright, and that's kind of when I take my headphones off. And I've used this description. That's the best part for me about anything that we do with this event. I feel like I'm lifting, like I'm about 4 inches off the ground. Does that make sense? Like I have this power. I feel like the most powerful, like I'm playing bass through a giant cabinet.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing bass at Woodstock, and I have this power. And that sounds a little bit arrogant, but I feel this energy being in the center of that pro race.
Yeah, and I mean, having been in the middle of the track, he's right. It's like being in the middle of the track for that race, and how fast those guys are going, and just like to be in the middle of all that energy. It's like standing on the stage.
I got goosebumps.
At watching the Rolling Stones at Altamont. You know, you're just like you're right there, and it's fucking happening. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty awesome moment.
I got that feeling when I saw the shitter go round around.
Yeah, that was a good one that year. That was really awesome. Yeah, when Beer Gut Mike when he built that thing. Well, yeah. And my one of my favorite instances of the weekend is Sunday morning. So we did Flat Out Friday, got completed. Saturday, the opening day of the show was completed. Sunday morning, go in about 8. The doors open at 10, and you have 2 hours of just like everybody's pretty much blown their wad party wise. Like the vendors are kind of, Sunday's not really a day where like the vendors show up. The builder vendors will show up and like still be hawking their stuff, but like. It's just like the vibe has just come down so far.
Yeah.
Everyone's hungover. No one's really going to show up until 10. But you can go in at 8 o'clock and the lights are on and there's music on, but it's really quiet. It's like being in church or like being in an art museum. And that's the moment that me personally, I get to walk around and really look at the show. Because even though, Warren and I curate the show, we pick all the bikes, like, just the chaos of all the bikes getting loaded into the building and put on that little teeny elevator and moved upstairs, and sometimes they're staged in different areas and before they get photographed, and then they get arranged out on the floor, which is really Warren's forte. So it's like I'll see stuff coming in and I'll get to meet builders or shake their hand or see someone I haven't seen in a really long time, but it's like I no more than say hey to someone and there's someone else behind me or beside me that's like, hey, where do I go? Like, where do I set up? Or like, I'm here. Do you have some guys that can help us unload this bike out of the trailer? So it's like, you never really get a chance to see the bikes. And then the show's opening, then on Friday at 5 o'clock, like Warren and I are rushing over to the venue to the race to be there for the race and watch the opening ceremonies and hang out and get to like see some people there. Then Saturday morning, it's like, TV interviews, just a million things, trying to get everything set up, making sure that the lines are like sorted at the door, and just, all the little things, like everybody, oh, my pass doesn't work, oh, my, I need an extra pass, my mom came with my dad, like that kind of stuff. And so like, it's bananas. And then, so Sunday morning, I go in there, and Warren does too, we do it separately, we'll just be like, what's up? And we'll just like walk around just, like, with our hands in our pockets and just have some quiet time, really be able to look at the bikes and just and totally nerd out on like how awesome the bikes are.
Right.
So that little 2 hours of time is like that's the sweet spot for me. And then Jeremy's son Merritt comes in and DJs and like he plays cool music and I just love that part of it. So I hope that answers your question.
Can you give us some insider info? Do you have like a favorite bike that's going to show up to the show this year?
God, I had a feeling you were going to answer that question, and I was going to prepare for that. And I'm having like I'm kind of blanking out on like what stuff, on the stuff that's there. There's a bunch of really cool stuff there.
Zoom out a little bit, and can you give us the number of entries that you had or applications?
Well, the thing is, we've had so many applications. Like, we have a submissions list tab on the website, so you can submit your motorcycle.
Oh.
And we've had like probably close to 1,000 of those.
Oh, I thought, personally, I always thought that you guys just invited who you wanted every year.
We do.
Oh.
But we had this submissions tab because everyone's like, hey, my buddy Jim, my neighbor built this bike. Like, how do we get it in front of you guys? And so we put this submissions tab on the website where anyone can just send in their bike. Like, I built this bike and this is what it's about. Here's a photo of it. We could have 3 shows throughout the year. Or we could have a show with 500 bikes just using the bikes that get through the submissions tab.
Wow.
So that's not even counting like the bikes that we choose at like the 120th, the bikes that we choose at Sturgis, the bikes that we what are some of the other
just Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
Instagram, just riding around in the summer, pulling up to a bar and seeing like where's this shovelhead come from? Like, who is this dude? Or going to a race and seeing some cool stuff in the parking lot or in the pits. And so, that's basically 75% of the bikes that we pick are done personally that way. And then to try to have to pick through this like 1,000 entries, it's a Sisyphean task. You're right.
Sisyphean.
Like, there's so much, there's so many cool bikes, and you could have a motorcycle show with 500 bikes in them, and they would all be worthy of being in a show.
Right.
But we only have room for 100, so that's just the nuts and bolts of that space. It's just, there is no more room.
Right.
And so, we could move it. We could have another smaller show in one of the, in the rave bar or something like that. But we don't want to tier it. It's like the coolest bike of the show is just as worthy of being there as like the third coolest bike that's in the show. If it was picked to be in the show, it's cool and it's worthy of it. And they're all on the same plane. And we don't do best of show, or we don't give out awards. Sometimes other people will choose, they'll pick a best of show. Harley Davidson has an award that they give out every year, and we have other people like let them pick a bike for their organization or whatever they're into, to say like, this was my pick for best of show. But for us, it's not about awards and giving stuff. They're all of equal importance.
Let me. You correct me where I'm wrong, Scott. I'm going to pretend I'm you.
All right.
And you run this show, and you organize it, you sift through everything, you send out all the emails, all the invites have gone out. And so for you to be asked, what's your favorite bike, you're like, oh man, you've lost a little bit of grip on it until the day of. And I've seen you be like, oh shit, that bike's here?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
There's a lot of that.
I forgot. I invited that guy. Thanks for coming.
Right.
So in many ways, you're seeing the show, as the first-time spectator as well.
Yeah. Yeah, when you see people, because, it's a lot of it is on Instagram that we know people, or we know them personally, but we never saw this bike that they built before. And so, like, when they roll in with this cool bike, you're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's like, it's the coolest job in the world. That's all I can say. It's like, as much as it's like, it's I don't know, for some reason this year, it's like, it stressed me out because there's so many cool bikes that we haven't been able to invite.
Right.
And it bums me out, like, cause they're so worthy of being in the show.
Right.
Like, so badass, but we just physically don't have the space.
Right.
Sure. And there's that 1,000 that applied this year. There's the 1,000 that applied the year before and the year before that. Where you're like, oh, next year, buddy. But then it already got
right.
Right. And that happens a lot too. And then I'll be like, yeah, next year. I didn't have room for this year. And then like a week before the show, like someone will be like, hey man, is that invite still valid? You're like, dude, I don't. Like, and then you got to be like, yeah, man, I'll figure it out. Like, just come on. Or like, I seriously, I don't have a slot to put you in.
I think that's why when people come to Mama Tried and they might see a bike without a written number plate, because that was one of those situations where
someone just
I forgot about Joe from Alabama.
And that's the cool thing also about Mama Tried builders. For the most part, and this was something I had never anticipated, people are really chill on like, hey, hey Scott, I talked to you this summer about like having my bike in the show, and I haven't heard anything. Like, what's up? Is it still happening? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna send you some load-in stuff in like a couple weeks, and they'll be like, cool, or like, and then they're walking in on Friday before the show with their bike, and I'll be like, oh dude, what's up? Like, I never heard from you. Like, oh yeah, I never heard from you, but I just knew that the show, so I just came. So I was like, is that cool? And like, like, well, yeah, like something got messed up with like their email or something. Some people aren't really social media savvy, and so like you only have like a phone number or an email address. And it's an AOL.com address or something like that, and so things can kind of get messed up. But people just show up and they're just like, yeah, I just figured it was cool, so I'm here. So you're just like, all right, let's do this.
Oh my God, so, I don't think that's a good thing to say on a podcast.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's a disclaimer to that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that if you weren't invited, you could just show up and get in. That does not work.
Right.
Because there is a list, and it does get checked several times by lots of different people, but. I guess the point I'm trying to make is like everybody's really chill and cool, and like nobody stresses out like, where's my passes? Like, what about, I'm not gonna drive all this way if I don't know, like blah blah blah. Everyone's just like it's just like I don't know. There's like I don't know if it's like the chopper world or just the custom bike world, but people have a very like chill, I don't know, outlook and vibe about stuff, and they roll with whatever.
Yeah.
And we try to be very accommodating because we don't want there to be any whatever, but you can just tell. Like, I think our audience and the participants have a very cool and like, yeah, man, it's cool. Like whatever, I'll just be there and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's certainly the nature of this. Let's call it like subculture or just culture in general. It's just like. It is you kind of have to be, dude. If you're like, I mean, like me personally, all my bike trips, I plan nothing. It's just like, I got an end destination and everything else in the middle is like, okay, cool. Let's figure it out,
Yeah. One thing I did want to add is another thing about the show the last couple of years is that we have been getting less and less and less entries for anything that's non-American, that's metric-ish. And because the show, when we originally founded the idea, we wanted it to be a third choppers, a third race bikes basically could be a hill climber, could be a drag bike, could be a flat tracker, and then a third collectible, just random, barn finds, whatever, some weird custom thing that doesn't really fit any categorization. It's not a chopper. It's not an original, restoration project. And so, but really we get less and less, and I think we're stuck in this feedback loop where it's like, because we get less and less entries of non-chopper stuff, it's become like an 80% chopper show.
Right.
And I love it, and I love choppers, but I love the other stuff too. But like a lot of people are like, I'll see, a metric bike on the street, and I'll say to someone like, hey, you should bring that thing to Mom Tried. They're like, it's a chopper show. Like, I don't want to go there. And I'm like, it's not. Like, it's supposed to be like an everything show, And they're just like, I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think my bike's going to fit in there. And so, like, I'll spend a few minutes trying to convince them that it should be in the show because, when people see that stuff and then they'll see more of it. And then the people who are into that stuff will bring it. But I feel like we're on a losing battle, and I don't know how to tip the scales, and maybe next year we just start over just by being like, please, let's bring it back to like get some more metric involvement and more restoration, more resto mods, like that kind of thing, and not just choppers, because man, there's a million kick-ass choppers out there, but there's other stuff out there too, and I think that deserves to be seen as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like when I think of Mama Tried, like a lot of the shit that comes to my memory are bikes like Craig Rodsmith stuff.
Exactly.
Like that guy's a fucking wizard, man.
He is a wizard.
Like
And a great
and my first Mama Tried, that's all I was expecting was choppers. And when I showed up and I saw all kinds of stuff like that, um, yeah, I love it, man. I love it all. But
thanks. I think I do too. But if this podcast can help in any way to spread the word that we're trying, we're not trying to be 100% chopper show. Let just let that bell toll. So,
all right, all right,
yeah.
calling out all you race bikes and metrics.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let me ask you this, Jeremy. Like, what was your guys' prior relationship? Like, Jeremy, your prior relationship to Scott and Warren, and how did Flat Out Friday, like, become the show that merged with Mama Tried?
Sure, sure. Well, here's this pretty standard story, and I'll summarize quickly. Actually, Scott and I were on our way to a hockey tournament together, so we had known each other. Scott's always been into rad shit: surfing, hockey. I don't know, trap shooting. Can you trap shoot? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, like anything that's like on the extreme sport subheading.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have it in this home. Anyway, we were on our way to a hockey tournament, and you're like, you know what? I think I want to stop doing Rocker Box, which was a street show that he was doing, and I want to do a curated show. And I said, that is the stupidest thing I ever heard. I don't know who would go to that. When you could be in the street and anybody can show up and anything can happen. How exciting, Scott! Not knowing how difficult that is to manage. So I wasn't at the first Mama Tried. I didn't get it. I wasn't, because I had only known one kind of show, and that is AC/DC cover band, beer, spaghetti wrestling, right?
Do-rags.
White beard.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think for the 90s, it was stuck. And here in Milwaukee, where there's a motorcycle rally, every weekend, I wasn't into that jam. It had a really bad taste in my mouth until year 2. You asked me to help. You needed help with tickets to do the door, and never gave it any thought. I remember doors open at 10, and I rolled in at 10:30, and there's a line around the block, and you're like, dude. And I was like, holy shit. I had no idea. And I was working the door, and just the energy, like, wow, young motorcycle people. I'd never seen this before. I'd never seen tattooed neck, 20-something good-looking dudes with great, beautiful motorcycles. It was just baggers. And
This was in that small little space that I had spoke to Warren at last year's Mama Tried. He was telling me about the beginnings of it. This was in like a small warehouse or something, right?
Yeah, there was 3 different ones in the first early days. There was one the first year, and it was getting turned in. It was in the process of getting turned from a factory into a lofted apartments.
Okay.
And so we knew the guy that owned the building, and he let us use the space while it was basically being gutted, so it was wide open. So it was great for the show. Just had construction lights and one working toilet for the whole thing, and we sort of skirted the city occupancy permit.
Sure. Well, just thinking,
we thought it was going to be small. We thought like,
just a party.
A couple of 100 people will show up, and that's it. And it got to be really big. Well, then we knew we couldn't even be there the next year if we were going to do one, but we never even considered anything beyond the first year. So second year was at another warehouse space that was a little bit bigger and a little bit more manageable. So, but Jeremy and I knew we'd known each other for long before that. Jeremy and I were in a band together. We raced Baja together.
Trucks?
The Baja 1000?
Yeah.
In a trophy truck?
No. Motorcycle. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Dirt bikes, 2007.
Oh, wow.
So we've known each other when Fuel first opened on Center Street. Jeremy had a house right down the road, and that's how we know each other. So he would start coming in with his friends, and that's how I know Dave Kilkenny and God, just everyone that I know from the motorcycle scene, because basically from when Fuel opened on Center Street and became like a motorcycle centric gathering point.
Right.
So that's when I met Jeremy, and then we were in a band together, and we did tons of stuff together. And then Jeremy had been talking about promoting motorcycle races, even during the Rocker Box days when we were doing this outdoor festival. And you were doing research and talking to promoters and trying to glean as much information as you could.
For sure. My son was into flat track, and I loved that community and that culture. And even at that time, I even think flat track was a metric world, and we were kind of like F you to the American world, although I was much younger.
Right.
But I had wanted to do flat track when I was working the door with Scott. I saw, oh my God, these are young people. This is a great energy. Could I do? The only way anyone would ever come to my race is if it was glommed onto your weekend. So I got this great idea for a flat track event. Could it be part of your weekend? And you're like, oh yeah, that's great. It'll give something for our participants to do.
Because we were starting to get the understanding that people were coming in. It was only the second year that we did it, so even after the first year, we realized that people were coming in from around the country for this weekend. And, gosh, we should have other stuff for them to do. Like we should have an event on Friday night. We should have an event on Thursday night for people that are coming in. Now we have events starting Monday night, and Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, because people come into town for like the whole week. But at that time, we didn't have a Friday night event. I think we just
It was a bar.
Yeah, it was like we went to Sabbatic or something like that. And so Jeremy putting on Flat Out Friday was just a killer idea, and we could get the whole motorcycle. It was like the best idea ever at the perfect time.
Right.
And real quick, you got me romanticizing a little bit, Scott. If we could document this, I remember the first year we were trying to sell 1,800 tickets. I remember we were like, we did it. Like a week before, we did it. We made it. 1,800. and the arena was woefully unprepared. We were woefully unprepared for that initial success of Flat Out Friday.
Yeah.
What's an average year? How many tickets is an average year sell nowadays?
Okay, so I wish I had the statistics ready for you, but I'm going to say that we wax and wanes between. I think our highlight of our attendance, our peak, if you will, was probably the Bradley Center, and I'm going to guess we were just shy of maybe 11 and a half.
Wow.
And I think at the Pfizer we're maybe at 95.
Okay.
I think a reasoning for that is pricing. The Pfizer is much more expensive, and I don't know what a ticket costs. Anybody knows what a ticket costs?
No, yeah, there's no. You cannot pin down the number of like what a $25 ticket, depending on where you buy it, when you buy it, how you buy it, could be anywhere from $26 to $58.
Right.
And we have no control over that. We don't get any of that money. It's a weird business. So it's like I know it's tough for people that are coming in from out of town to buy tickets. But we just, I don't know. I guess I'd like to say no one's ever asked us, but I'd like to say that on air. Like we have no control over that, and we don't get any of that money.
Okay.
But I want to stick with your question. We're still. I would expect 9,500 at Flat Out Friday. That's what the lower bowl holds with the people in the pits and all of the suites. We're really pushing strong, and we are on track to open the upper bowl.
Damn.
So that's exciting. I guess it's a threshold mark for us. And if I can promote tickets real quick, if anybody out there is looking for tickets, you can go to the Flat Out Friday website. And I worked through the contract, Scott. I don't know if you know this. I met. You talk about this being an all year round. Well, I met with the Ticketmaster representatives over the summer. By the way, Ticketmaster is an AI. It's a wizard behind this is a sheet. This guy with levers. You don't get to ever meet Ticketmaster. But in our contract, I cannot disrespect Ticketmaster. Not ever advertising or anything like that. And I cannot directly tell you how to circumvent Ticketmaster. However, The Harley Davidson Museum has codes. Fuels Cafe has codes. Elwood's Bar has codes. If you use those codes, which you can readily find on social media, you can circumvent Ticketmaster entirely and pay no fees.
That sounds very tech overlordy. When someone tells you not to disrespect a corporation, you know.
We're saying that we're just not allowed contractually to say that there's a way to circumvent Ticketmaster fees.
Right.
But you can.
But there are ways.
Just ask us how.
Just don't ask us how.
Right.
But if you really want to do it, here's where you could. Look.
It sounds like a video game. Like, don't disrespect the Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
exactly.
Basically. Yeah, there is a master of tickets, and they own everything. But the funny thing was if I could just tell a story, the funny thing was like the first year, even the second year, the first year when we went to this UWM Panther Arena, it was like one of the, it's still there, and they have the Milwaukee Admirals hockey team plays there, and so we're in Flat Out Friday Lane's right smack dab in the middle of their schedule, so it was really hard to get a date set that would coincide with Mama Tried dates. And to get that all line up, and to not, because the hockey obviously gets first dibs on any dates, and they don't take the ice out for some other event. They will if they're gone for like 2 weeks, they'll take the ice out, but otherwise they'll leave the ice in. And we went to them and we're like, we want to do this race, and they're like, you want to do what? And they're like, and we're like, so we're walking around on the concrete like taking measurements, and they're like, so you're going to be trucking in dirt? And we're like, no, we're just going to do it right on the concrete. They're like, what? It's a what? You're going to do what? You want to put soda syrup on the floor? Like, how does that clean up? And we're like, showed them, that you can just run one of those Lowe's or Home Depot Zambonis like over the floor to clean it up. It's real easy. And they were just like, yeah, okay. Like, who's going to come? And, legitimate questions. Like, if you're an owner of a sports facility, you're like, who are you? Yeah. Never heard of you. There's no record of you on the internet. It was the first year we ever did it.
Yeah.
That was the first year I went, was when it was at the Panther Stadium.
Yep. And so it was, we didn't even know if anyone was going to come or if anyone was going to sign up. We were just taking this chance, and then it ended up working out great. We sold a bunch of tickets. Lots of racers signed up. The funny thing is that the venue had not prepared for us to sell as many tickets as we sold. I think we sold like 8,000 tickets or something. They had no concessions open, and they had enough beer for like 1,500 people. That was a shit show. It was unfortunate for the venue and for the spectators because nobody could get a drink or a hot dog,
right?
Popcorn. I mean, there was some stuff. There was a couple stands open, but the lines were 30 deep, and so the next year they didn't have that problem. But
to bring it full circle, I remember it being a bit like a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
I remember walking through the crowd, and people were pulling at my shirt with questions, and I didn't have answers. I was just trying to. And that's why I went in the center of the track. This is before we had communication. It was all like hand signals. Yeah. I was in the middle of the track just so everyone would leave me alone, because I would go out there. It was just the world was falling apart.
Where do I put my bike? Yeah. Where's the chute? What's
we're
the
out of beer. Oh my God, we're out of beer. I'm out of here.
It was pretty great. I remember being in the pits because we raced the first year, and it was opening ceremonies, and somebody grabbed me. Maybe it was Warren. Grabbed us. We were pitting together and grabbed us both at the time, and I think they were like, "You gotta come and see this." And we walk out and I see you, and I was just like, because I hadn't been, I'd done my practice session when no one was in the building, just the racers, and there's no spectators are in the building yet. And then I walk out at 6:30 right before opening ceremonies, and the place is like half full, and I'm like, what is happening? It was a really amazing feeling because it was such a huge roll of the dice for us, and just taking a chance on something that we just thought would be fun and cool.
Right.
And planning events and doing events all year round, and not my whole life, but my whole adult life, I've been involved in some sort of events. Rarely does the event supersede your expectations? More often than not. 400 people are coming tonight, 250. Right? There's going to be hundreds of people here tonight. Oh, 100. Yeah. That was one of the only times in my life where like, whoa, this is working.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've carried that momentum on. You started doing hockey leagues before Flat Out Friday?
Sure.
And the River West 24, Jeremy does a 24-hour bicycle race in Milwaukee. His annual. What's the anniversary this year?
Oh my God, I can't switch gears, Scott. I can't switch gears. Scott's reading off my resume, but in conclusion, yes, I do have a bicycle race, and I think this might be the 16th year.
Wow.
So it's a 24-hour bicycle race, and it's pretty cool, and the whole community comes out to do it and get involved and have like refreshment stations, and it's just a wild party that Jeremy puts on every year. And then he has a hockey league. We both play hockey, not as much as we used to, but he has a hockey league that he puts on. Like, there's how many do you put on a year? 4 or 5?
Wait, 4 or 5 what leagues?
Yeah. How many leagues?
It's growing. It's growing. I did 3 this year.
Okay.
3 sessions.
This is ice hockey?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You guys play ice hockey over there on the Long Island?
Yes.
What town are you in? Can you say that, or is that?
Oh, I'm in Huntington.
Oh, okay.
You said what town, right?
Okay, yeah. Does Huntington have a municipal ice rink?
No, but there's several. Like, I mean, I played on my high school team. I played ice hockey from 7th to 12th grade. There's a bunch of rinks on the island, though. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like one of the rinks that's only like 10 minutes from here. It's only like the next town over is where the Islanders practice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
What town do they play in?
Well, they play in Hempstead, at the Coliseum, but the place I'm talking about is in a town called Syosset, where the practice rink is.
Okay.
But yeah,
Cool.
there's a bunch of rinks here.
Right on. Wait, we're probably taking up way too much of your time. You gotta cap this, right?
I mean, I don't have to cap it at anything, but if you guys have shit to do, I don't want to hold you up.
No, keep going.
No, we're good. We're good.
Give us a hard one. But can I go to the bathroom? Can I say that on the air?
Yeah, you can go.
Or we can, yeah.
This isn't prison.
That's got a question. That's not about the history of the wheel.
Dude, Scott, I do have a question for you. After Jeremy made the joke about being into skeet and trap shooting, I see on the back wall there, is that a piece of taxidermy? Is that a bird on the wall or something? What is that above the window on the right?
Over there?
Yeah.
That is a boar, and no, I bought that.
Oh, okay.
I had a bunch of just like thrift store beat up taxidermy. I collect that stuff or used to, so no, nothing that I shot. I'm a deer hunter who hasn't hunted in a while. I grew up hunting, bird hunting and deer hunting, but I haven't really that much. My family had land, and then for a bunch of reasons, the land that my aunts and uncles and my grandparents and my cousins all hunted on, it got sold. So we all kind of got scattered to the wind to do like in the smaller groups to go hunting, but it just kind of never really panned out, and I never really like hooked up with another bunch of people to go hunting with again. So I still have all my stuff, and every once in a while I'll go out, but it hasn't been super important. You're a big hunter. Oh
yeah, big time, man. That's what I tell people. Harleys and hunting is that's what I live for.
Yeah, what is this place in Colorado that you go to? How did you start going there?
I go every year elk or deer hunting with a friend of mine that lives out in Durango. Okay. And we just go on public land. He's got a toy hauler, so we throw the side by side in the toy hauler and just go give it hell on public land.
Nice. There's a lot of that out there, right?
Oh my God, it is such a good state for that. Yeah, it's the highest density of elk in the country is in Colorado, and there is just, I mean, the whole damn state is practically public land. So it's really awesome for that. But I don't even know. Do you know my friend? Do you ever hear of the Jacks, Willie Jack and Jer? No, they're big chopper guys out there.
Okay. In Colorado?
Yeah, in Durango.
Okay.
Yeah, I should tell them to like submit some bikes or something, man. They
That'd
got
be
a whole
cool.
bunch of cool stuff. But
Yeah, and especially if they're great people, that's like the other thing. You know, you got to be. It's cool if you have a great bike, but you got to be like an even better person and like and want to have a good time and have a good time with other people.
yeah,
You
no,
got to
I
be
don't want to
good
insult their
time with people.
bikes, but they're better people than their bikes.
Right,
Yeah,
right, and I'm sure they have great bikes
and
too.
they do. They got some rad bikes, but quite honestly, man, they're like some of my best friends in the world.
Kick ass.
They're just amazing, man.
Awesome.
So you know the Four Corners rally out there, right?
Yeah.
They've kind of like they have the party to be at for the Four Corners.
Oh, really? Okay. I
And
really want to go to that. I've heard it's a good time.
dude, if you do, trust me, I'll point you in the right direction.
Okay.
But Lichter was just out there and kind of like on a hunch was like he was looking for some stuff to photograph and all. And once he got hooked up with them, man, he spent like 3 days out there just pig roasting with them and going to their dad's place. Their dad has a collection of stuff like you wouldn't believe. But yeah, they're the guys to know out west, man, for sure.
All right.
I got
Right,
lucky as
cool.
hell.
Do you go out to that rally every year?
No, I've been to the Four Corners once, but I'll go out to Colorado to visit those guys a couple times a year. I'll even keep a bike out there sometimes. But yeah, I go out there every other year too for EDR with them. Like
Okay.
that'll be like where I pass through, and then we'll go into Mexico with those guys.
Okay.
But yeah, they're just awesome, man.
Awesome. I'd love to meet them.
Yeah, they're the guys to know. Jer was actually he stayed with me for Mama Tried last year, but Willie, the brother that I go hunting with, he's never been to Mama Tried. He's the family man, so his traveling is limited if there's stuff going on, you know.
Understandably.
But yeah,
Jeremy's kids are all getting kind of grown up now, so a little bit more time to.
Yeah,
You spend a lot of time.
let's do it. I'm near retirement too.
Right on.
do you so in your retirement because like if you're getting ready to retire and you're like semi-retired, Scott. Do you guys plan on ramping things up and like maybe doing another show elsewhere or?
Stop right there.
We talk about doing stuff all the time, and we've done that. We've done the Brazil where we tried doing Brazil thing, and it's been really good time. And we've been trying to do something in Indonesia, and that's a little bit tougher nut to crack. I think I don't know if we're gonna keep going down that road of trying to do it, but I would like to.
Yeah, I think if we can just a wish list, I would like to get involved with the Custom War. Have you followed Custom War there in Bali? Is it Bali?
Yeah. It's a show called Custom War, and they only do it every couple of years.
Okay.
And it's in Indonesia, and we know a bunch of people out there, and they have just really really cool chopper scene
And
motorcycle scene
a
in
Budding
Indonesia.
flat track scene.
Yeah.
That needs to be. You know what? When the fire is almost out, you gotta. I feel it can.
Yeah.
And I want to get there and help it.
Yeah, and great vibes, just great people out there, and so we want to start spending some more time. We have a lot of friends there, so we want to start spending a lot more time out there with those guys, like going to their events, hyping their stuff, and just being more a part of like what's happening there. And it's a great getaway for us too. Obviously, it's a good vacation and a great spot. I mean, Indonesia, Jakarta, and Bali is just incredible. It's incredible. So
Yeah.
But I want to zoom in a little more on your question. It's a good question because Scott and I are in a bit of a holiday reflective mood, a bit of a philosophical mood. I guess for me, I'm not complaining about what we do, but the thing I already mentioned earlier that I hate having to do is prove who we are, and that's what I feel like we have to do in Sturgis. Who are you again? What do you do? Get out of my way. And I don't want to do that anymore. So we have a little bit of a niche. Let's just kind of stay in this niche. Is that
we have this little lane.
Lane. We have a lane.
Right.
And if we got Stoke in Moorhead, North Dakota, and there was Stoke, I'll be there. but I don't want to have to sell it anymore or have to reinvent some things. That's really stressful. We got a lane. Let's see where this lane can take us. Is that a fair?
And keep enjoying it because we love it. But then all of a sudden, you know, you're spending all this time putting on events, and you know, you kind of forget that it was just supposed to be for fun the first time, and then you know, suddenly there's sponsorships involved and there's money involved, and it becomes. We love it. I mean, the thing that Jeremy and Warren couldn't be here today because he had to work, but the thing that we love the most is just like the three of us hanging out together and shooting the shit. When we have planning meetings, it's probably 25% planning and, you know, like 65, 75%, you know,
Drinking.
what's going on? Yeah, we're just like, what's going on with you? Like, what's happening with this? Like, how are the kids? You know, like, where are you guys going on vacation this year? What's happening with Hank? What's happening with Max? What's happening with Merritt? What's happening with Loyal? You know, like, just trying to keep up on each other's lives because we're all really just good friends, and that's the part that we love the most. So sometimes the show and the race can, I don't know, suck up a little bit more oxygen in the room than we'd like, but it's what we do, and we really love it. So but the glue that holds it together is the friendship and how much time we like spending together. So
Right.
that part of it's awesome.
Two places that you guys didn't mention about like possibly talking about moving around the rest of the world. Flat track is huge in Europe, and the custom motorcycle scene is huge in Japan. Have those places ever been discussed?
Yeah.
For sure. And I had a secret agenda of trying to do an event on every continent. And,
Damn.
And I even looked up flights to like a space we could hit Antarctica. And you know when I'm in the shower and I have these grandiose ideas. But here's my question I would ask to you. I'm pretending you're me. You're my conscience thinking about going to Europe, for example. I mean, what could Flat Out Friday bring in Mama Tried as a custom show? What could we already bring to Japan or Europe? And what could we bring as a race? Because I feel in Europe, we would be just another event, you know, just another flat track race because it is so big. What could Flat Out Friday bring to Indiana? I don't know if we could bring much. Am I wrong? Correct me. Let me try to articulate this, Scott. What am I trying to say?
No, it's true. It's like we think, you know, we don't want to come in there. We want to go there and experience what they have going on, and you know, we'd bring bikes and race, you know, before we'd want to bring like a show or a race there because they're already doing it. You know, it's like we're not there to tell them how to run a race or to run a motorcycle show. They already have that culture built up, and so you know, we want to go there, of course, and like we would love to put on an event. I just think the nuts and bolts of it are Europe is difficult because it's a very there's a lot more rules in the States, I've come to find out. So it's not like we could go to like, hey, Binghamton Coliseum, like we want to put on we're going to put on a motorcycle race. Fuck yeah, come on here and let's do it, you know? Like it doesn't work like that in the Netherlands or in Germany or in Italy. There's a lot of red tape and and you could get shut down at any time, and so it's just the little bit that I know about it, I think it would be more difficult than we think it would be.
Okay.
And
Going back to just stay in your lane.
Yes, exactly. I would, you know, take a race bike there and go race there, sure. Or just show up there and hang out and have a great time and just dig the racing and meet a bunch of people. I think that would be way more fun.
Right.
Same with Japan. I think, you know, Japan, they have even more tradition of the way that they do things and the way that, you know, like any motorcycle scene in the States, you know, there isn't one monolithic motorcycle scene. There's all these different scenes that are like regional or specific to these kind of bikes or this kind of activity, to flat tracking, to drag racing, to hill climbing, and they don't really interact, and they can be kind of cliquey. And I think in Japan, it's that and more. So us coming in there, I don't think that we would really have anything to offer them. You know, they're already putting on races and having a great time and building really cool shit. And I don't know that we would, you know, what we could bring them. I mean, there's the shows that I see on, and we've been to the Moon Eyes show, and I want to go back there and just to have a great time.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like we really love Asia. We got to go to the show in Malaysia. The what's it called? The
Custom Fest.
No, that's Custom Fest is in Indonesia. The Malaysian hot rod and motorcycle show.
Malaysian Custom Fest.
I don't remember. I'm drawing a blank, but we had a great time. The promoter's awesome. There was tons of cool stuff there. Love to go back and do that. I heard there's a really great one in Bangkok in Thailand. I want to go back and do Custom War and Custom Fest in Indonesia, and I want to go back and go to Moon Eyes again, and just just enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Not do anything except for just take a trip, see what be on the spectator side when people come to Milwaukee. And and go to the show and go to the race and just be a spectator and just enjoy ourselves. And I think that's more on our agenda for the next couple of years.
That took some maturing because we had some momentum going, and we're going to do an event in Cleveland, and we had a linear business model, if you will. Right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And I remember one time talking to Gary from Sideburn, and like, hey Gary, what about Flat Out Friday? England. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, come on, Gary, let's pick up the ball and run with it. And he was like, what do you mean? Why would you do that? I was waiting for him to fan my fire, and he wasn't. He's like, how would that work?
Yeah, Gary's a straight shooter like that, which I kind of like.
Well, let me ask you this. If that's how you guys feel about going to other places in the world, what sparked or what brought you to do Flat Out Friday in Brazil then? Like what gravitated you toward there, or how'd that spark?
Yeah, that's a good question. We knew a bunch of guys from Brazil started coming to Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday and racing and going to the show, and they would just come every year. And we started to get to know them. And in 2020, when the show and the race got canceled because of the pandemic, those guys were stuck in the States. They couldn't get They eventually, got back to Sao Paulo, but they were in town for that whole weekend when everything got canceled, and we had more time to actually sit down and have more than 2 minutes to talk to them. So when we were hanging out, I'm like, it's really cool that you guys come here every year. What do you do in Brazil? And they're like, oh, we put on motorcycle races and motorcycle shows. And we're like, what? They're like, yeah, you should come down and do something with us down here. We're like, all right. And that's how that happened, because they already had they were super stoked on racing. They were all flat track races. They were building a racetrack. They had bikes, they knew everyone in the Sao Paulo area, all the bike builders and all the racers. And they, basically the infrastructure was there. All we had to do was just come and sort of partner with those guys. So it was really easy and a really good time. And that's why we keep going down there every year, because we've made a bunch of great friends there. Every time we've gone, we make more friends, and it's a blast down there.
Cool.
And I would go anywhere for Stoke. When we were talking about not doing Europe, a little piece of me is thinking, man, if there's someone in Portugal that's like, oh my God, I would love it if you came here. I would ponder it, because I'm always searching for Stoke.
Right.
If I put out an idea and no one's like, fuck yeah, then I lose my interest. But if there is a fuck yeah, I'll be there. And Sao Paulo has a lot of fuck yeah.
Yeah.
There's if you ever met a Brazilian, they are all in on anything.
Yeah.
If you're into Iron Maiden, you have Iron Maiden tattooed on your eyelid. You're not.
Right.
You're not a passive.
Yeah, you're not like I have a few records.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. My girlfriend's from Sao Paulo, and I definitely get the passion thing. It's
cool.
It's full fuck yeah.
Right on. Did you meet her? Where did you meet her?
I met her here on Long Island.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, her family's still in Sao Paulo and everything.
Okay.
Actually, it's funny you say Portugal too. Her parents just got a place in Portugal, so maybe I could find some fuck yeah there for you.
There you go. You can be our scout. It's just, yeah. Find the flat track scene there, or the custom bike scene, and we'll go there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to get down to the Brazil though, the Sao Paulo races. Yeah, that would be cool.
It's a super good time. Great people down there. So we're really, really lucky to work with those guys.
Yeah.
So, and it's always nice to be able to go down there. We always go down there like March or April, so it's freezing cold here, so it's a nice break for us to get to go somewhere warm.
Yeah. It's funny. I never even met those guys at Mama Tried, but I met them at the 120th this year. I don't know if the whole crew was here, but I met a few of them.
A lot of them came up.
Yeah.
We'll never meet the whole crew.
Yeah. It just goes.
They just keep coming out.
It goes deep.
Yeah. Rodrigo, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Rodrigo, nice to meet you too.
Yep. So are they going to be racing this year at Milwaukee?
Well, there are 2 tentatively signed up, and Brazilians. I mean, globally. In fact, I'm gonna switch this. Americans think way too linear. Are you going to be doing that then? And in Brazil, in Indonesia, 1 half hour, 2 half hour, Monday, Tuesday, next week.
Yeah.
Are the Brazilians racing? I don't know. Now, the American in me is like, well, what time? When's your flight? When do you arrive? Where are you staying?
Right.
They don't have answers, and I've stopped asking. The Brazilians just, they're just all of a sudden they're there.
They're there and they're ready to have a good time. They got
a bottle of wine and they're on your couch.
Yeah.
And the stoke is high, so it's good.
Yeah, when me and my buddies out west go to Mexico, we say the same thing. We're like, I don't know, it's Mexico time. Like, same down there. It's like people just kind of go with the wind, man.
Yeah, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Like we get wrapped around the axle and just kind of wound tight up here because that's just the way that we all do it, and everybody works hard and plays hard, but it doesn't have to be that way all the time for everyone.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. You guys got any more questions?
I don't know. I think we got to the nuts and bolts. I appreciate you sharing about your profession. But I have a question for you though, real quick. So this is something I would always ask on our podcast. What's your connection to motorcycles? I mean, I understand that you are in the locomotive repairman, and you have this podcast. Can you zoom in a little further? Tell us a little bit about you, of how you're connected to motorcycles,
or how you got started, or how you started with the podcast, like talking to motorcycle people.
Well, I guess I'll tackle the motorcycle thing first. I don't know, man. I just always liked them as a kid, just like a speed junkie. But I got involved with cars first, and just knew I was way too reckless as a younger kid to get on a motorcycle just yet. And my younger brother, came home with one day, and I was like, "You're a fucking idiot, This is not a good idea for either of us." But the next day, I was like, "Man, I gotta ride this thing." So and keep in mind, I was already racing dirt bikes like all over the East Coast and stuff, just not street bikes. And I rode that thing the next day, and like a week later, I got my first street bike. And then it was just on from there, man, But that'd be like the shortest way I guess I could answer that.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, and then only a few years after that got involved with, building custom Harleys and all that. Because the start of it was the sport bike scene,
Gotcha.
There was several sport bikes first, and I drag raced them and shit like that before I got involved with the custom Harley stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
With the extended swing arms and that kind of stuff, Hayabusas and...
I never had a Hayabusa, but a couple R1s and CBRs and stuff like that,
Cool.
Yeah. But I've always been a speed junkie, man. Even with the Harleys, man, I like the performance stuff more. Even like when I was doing more choppers, I don't even own a chopper now. Although I'm kind of like surrounded by some. I'm about to dive back into choppers. Even the choppers, man, I want them fucking fast, tight, light. They gotta perform. I'm really like a speed junkie.
Hanging out with Rick too much.
Oh yeah. Dude, me and Rick are a fucking friendship made in heaven, man. I'm so happy I met that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's such a good egg, man. He's talk about stoke.
Yeah, he is the Stoke.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Him and Matt Stout too, Matt and Katie, like they're just such great people. We're so blessed to have met those guys. So it's pretty awesome that those motorcycle doors just keep continuing to open and get to meet you and to meet Rick and to meet Matt and Katie. They're just awesome people. So.
Yeah, and that's what I've always said too. That really the more important part of all this is the people. That's really what I'm in it for. The motorcycles are just like a bonus at this point, I'll be doing the motorcycles regardless. But for me, the real excitement is in the people and the connections and you making these lifelong friends, like even like my friend Willie that I go elk hunting with, I met him randomly down in Mexico. And like since the day we met, man, we were best friends, and quite honestly, at this point, everyone in my life is through motorcycles, So for me, it's the people, But yeah,
no one appreciates that more than us.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us on the show. It's been really, really awesome, man.
We're clapping for you.
Yeah.
I'll clap for you guys.
Yeah, let's. Well, I wanna listen to the show about more about railroading, and if you get Bill on your show to talk about Bozo Texino and railroad stuff and graffiti and hoboing and train jumping and all that stuff, like train hopping, I'll definitely be listening to that one.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I listen to a lot of them all, but I would love to hear you like talk more about railroad stuff because I find that fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. I will be contacting that guy.
Right.
But
have you done any other railroad shows?
No. I kind of like keep a lot of my personal life out of this. It's just like, but like I don't know. It kind of gets intertwined.
Yeah.
But it's funny, every now and then I'll post like a video, either at work or just some silly train video, and that's like what people love the most. People just are begging for more of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, maybe we'll have you on our show and we'll talk about railroad stuff.
All right. All right. Yeah.
And you can tell story after story about railroad shit. That'd be awesome. I'd love to hear more about that.
All my good stories are like the dead bodies that get hit that I got to go clean up and stuff.
No. There's more of a nuance. There's an Americana nuance, right? I want you to tell me stories about people with the red and white handkerchief over there with the right?
Oh yeah, like the cartoon hobo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harmonica songs.
How long do railroad ties last? Like I want to all the minutia. I want to hear all about
the nomenclature.
I want to hear all about it. Well, we'll have a railroad episode on Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, and I know we talked about this before, so I don't want to call you out here, but before we go, for my 100th episode, but before Mama Tried, you said you're gonna donate 2 tickets to Mama Tried.
Yeah, we'll donate 2 tickets to Mama Tried, and we'll donate in like a merch pack.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Like a merch gift card, so they can go there and get some merch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to do it.
All right, and I think if it times out right, I think my 100th episode is gonna be like the week of Mama Tried or the week before.
Okay.
But I'll do the giveaway like before that.
Okay.
But yeah, either way.
Killer. Yeah. We'll sort it out.
Cool.
Be awesome.
And also, I know Warren's not here, but everybody, go buy a raffle ticket for his killer. He's raffling what, a Panhead, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
We also in Mama Tried has a giveaway bike, like a 2022 lowrider ST. So we have a giveaway for that. It's getting given away at Mama Tried.
Awesome.
So you can go on the website, go to mamatridedshow.com to get tickets for that, for tickets for the show, get info for the show if you want to submit a bike. If you have a cool metric bike and you want to submit it, that's the place to do it. If you want to get tickets for Flat Out Friday, go to flatoutriday.com, and there's like, click on the tickets tab, and we'll lead you through like how and where to get tickets and get the best deal.
Okay. And I'm going to take one out of Jeremy's book here and get the audience involved. If anyone has some good goofball costume ideas for me, slide in the DMs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're always looking for great entries for the inappropriate class, goofball class.
Yep.
Is where the porta potty raced, where the jet ski race. So yeah, there's always something cool every year. So if you've got a good idea, we'd love to put it on the track.
Cool. All right, man. Thank you guys so much. And I'll talk to you soon, but I look forward to seeing you in Milwaukee.
I'll see you in Milwaukee. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Take it easy. You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.